I knew something was wrong before I even parked. My neighbor's trash can was lying on its side in the middle of the road, lid spinning slowly in the afternoon wind. No kids outside. No dogs barking. No lawn mowers. Just silence, the kind that feels staged. And my driveway was full. 3 vehicles I didn't recognize. 1 white SUV. 1 pickup with hazard lights blinking. And a black sedan parked sideways like someone wanted to block me from leaving. I didn't pull in. I stopped at the curb and just sat there, engine running. I'd spent the last 4 days out of town working a contract security investigation for a courthouse renovation project. Long hours, bad coffee, cheap motel bed. All I wanted was a shower and quiet. Instead, my house looked occupied. The front door was open. Not wide open, just slightly pushed in, like someone kept walking in and out. My hand went to my pocket for my phone before I even stepped out. No calls. No messages from my wife, Mara. That's when my stomach tightened. Mara always texted, even for small things, especially if strangers were near the house. I stepped out slowly and closed the truck door without slamming it. As I walked closer, I heard voices inside. Confident voices. Not confused burglars, organized people. I reached the porch and pushed the door wider. The first thing I saw was my dining table flipped sideways. The second thing was a man standing on my couch wearing boots. The third was a woman pointing at my hallway like she was directing construction workers. She turned the moment she saw me. Late 40s, perfect hair, clipboard, and an expression of deep annoyance, not fear, that I had interrupted her. "Oh good," she said sharply. The homeowner finally decided to show up. Behind her, 4 men wearing matching gray shirts with badges printed on them were opening cabinets and photographing things. One of them walked out of my bedroom holding a shoebox. "My shoebox." "Put that down," I said. No one moved. The woman looked at me like I'd spoken out of turn in a meeting. "Sir, we are conducting a property compliance intervention." I stared at her. "Eh what?" She flipped a page on her clipboard dramatically. "Emergency residential raid authorized by the Brook Hollow Community Board due to repeated non-compliance violations and suspicious occupancy activity." I actually laughed once. Not because it was funny, because my brain refused to process what she had just said. "You broke into my house." "No," she corrected calmly. "We entered after multiple ignored notices and visible indicators of property misuse." Behind her, one of the men opened my office cabinet drawer and started sorting papers. My chest tightened. "Stop touching that," I said sharper. He kept going. I stepped forward. 2 of the men immediately moved between me and the hallway like rehearsed choreography. One held up a hand. "Sir, remain calm. We're authorized personnel." "Authorized?" I looked around my destroyed living room. Cushions cut open. Closets emptied onto the floor. Electronics unplugged and lined up on the table. This wasn't inspection. This was a search. "Where is Mara?" I asked quietly. The woman's expression shifted slightly, irritation again. She became confrontational. We asked her to sit outside while we finished. Every muscle in my body locked. "Outside where?" She gestured casually toward the backyard. I walked past them before they could answer further. The sliding door was open. Mara sat on the patio chair wrapped in a blanket, even though it wasn't cold. Her hands were shaking. The moment she saw me, she stood fast. "They wouldn't let me call you," she said immediately. "They took my phone." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "Did they hurt you?" She shook her head quickly, but her eyes were wet. "They kept saying it was a raid. They said we were hiding business equipment and illegal storage." Illegal storage. I closed my eyes for a second. Then I walked back inside. The woman was now supervising one of the men removing a small metal case from my office shelf. My pulse slowed. Not panic. Not anger. Focus. "Ma'am," I said calmly, "what exactly do you think you're doing in my house?" She smiled thinly. "Protecting property values." I nodded once. Then I pulled out my phone and dialed. She rolled her eyes. "You can call whoever you like. We already contacted local authorities before proceeding." I put the phone on speaker. "Yeah," I said when the line picked up. "This is Daniel Reeves. I need a supervisor unit and a documentation team at my address immediately." She crossed her arms. "And who exactly are you calling?" I looked directly at her. "The people who actually authorized the raid you just tried to perform." Her smile faded. For the first time, silence entered the room. I didn't go inside immediately. Instead, I waited. Because people like Cheryl don't stop when they're wrong. They double down. And right on cue she did. She marched straight toward me across the yard, heels sinking into wet grass, clipboard clutched like a weapon. "You are not entering this property," she snapped. "I've already informed authorities you are impersonating a resident." I actually laughed. Not loud, just enough that the deputy next to me glanced sideways. "Ma'am," he said carefully, "he has identification." She cut him off. "That proves nothing. Documents can be forged. People do it all the time. This man has been trespassing here for weeks." Weeks. I had landed 6 hours ago. I looked at her calmly. "Cheryl, right?" Her face tightened. "Don't use my name." "Cheryl," I repeated. "How long have you been entering this house?" Silence. "Too long." Deputy Ramirez noticed it too. "You have keys?" he asked. She hesitated. "For emergency community inspection purposes." The deputy held out his hand. "Let me see them." She passed them over confidently. And that's when the entire situation changed. Ramirez stared at the keyring, then at the lock, then back at the key. "This isn't a community key." Another officer tried it. The deadbolt didn't match, because it was a copied lockpick key, not an HOA master. Which meant only one thing: unauthorized entry. Cheryl's voice rose immediately. "You don't understand. The house was abandoned. Packages piled up. Lawn unmowed. Lights off." I pulled out my phone and opened the utility account. "Automatic management service," I said. "Timers. Remote monitoring." Then I turned the screen around. Security camera footage. Every single day she had been entering. Different outfits. Different times. Sometimes with another board member. Sometimes alone. Sometimes carrying things out. Her face went pale. "You recorded me without permission. You entered a private residence without permission." Dead silence. The deputies looked at each other, and the tone shifted completely. Not suspicion anymore. Procedure. "Ma'am," Ramirez said slowly, "step over here." She scoffed. "You're detaining me? I run this HOA." "No," he replied. "You've been breaking into someone's home." And that's when she panicked. It was community maintenance. We were protecting property values. I finally spoke. "You replaced my locks." No denial. "You opened my mail." No denial. "You moved my belongings." No denial. "You listed my house as abandoned in internal HOA records." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "To prevent squatters." The deputy nodded. "Ma'am, that makes you the squatter." 40 minutes later, a second patrol unit arrived. Then a supervisor. Then, awkwardly, the HOA president, called by another neighbor who had been watching the whole scene unfold from the sidewalk. He walked over confused. "Cheryl, what did you do?" She pointed at me. "He's lying. He doesn't live here." The president looked at me. I handed him the folder. Purchase contract. Tax record. Insurance. Driver's license. Utility billing. All current. All verified. He rubbed his forehead slowly. "Cheryl, this house has never been in violation." Her jaw clenched. But it looked abandoned. The president's reply was brutal. "You can't enter homes because you feel like it." The discovery. One officer came back out of the house carrying a box. "Sir, you may want to see this." Inside were items from my office. Personal files. Passport copies. And a drawer lock, forced open. Ramirez sighed. "This just upgraded." Cheryl's confidence cracked. "You're blowing this out of proportion." I finally told her. "I travel for work." She folded her arms. "So, I work for the government." Her smirk returned. "Everyone says that when they get caught." I pulled out my credentials. Not waved dramatically. Just handed it to the supervisor. He read it. Then straightened instantly. "Sir." Now the energy changed completely. Cheryl noticed. "What is it? What does he do?" The supervisor didn't answer her. Instead he said, "We'll handle this." She grabbed his arm. "No, I want to know." The HOA president asked quietly. "Cheryl, maybe stop talking." But she couldn't. She pointed at me again. "You don't scare me. You broke into this neighborhood pretending to own a house." The supervisor finally spoke. "Ma'am, he didn't break into the neighborhood." Pause. "He's assigned to it." Her expression froze. "What?" I looked at her calmly. "I'm the federal liaison assigned to regional property fraud investigations." Her clipboard slipped from her hand. It hit the driveway, and nobody moved to pick it up. Charges were not immediate, but reports were. Evidence logged. Statements taken. HOA access revoked pending investigation. Neighbors who had been silent for months suddenly spoke up. About inspections without notice. Fines without photos. Garage entries. Backyard measurements over fences. Pattern established. By sunset, the patrol cars left. The street felt quiet. The HOA president stood beside me awkwardly. I had no idea she was doing this. I believed him. Power attracts certain personalities. Unsupervised power reveals them. He sighed. The board will be dissolved pending review. I nodded. Then he asked, "Are you actually moving in?" I looked at the house. Yeah. And for the first time that day, I unlocked my own door. No clipboard. No accusations. No raid. Just silence. Exactly what a home is supposed to be. A week later, a notice arrived in every mailbox in the community. Not from the HOA. From the county. Unauthorized residential entry investigations opened across 3 neighborhoods. Turns out, mine wasn't the only house she'd been protecting. And that's the problem with fake authority. It works, right until it meets real authority.